Alright, hello. I accidentally started loading the save before I turned the stream on the right screen. So here we go.
Bad host.
Exactly. Super professional. We're back with more great Ace Attorney Chronicles. As usual, my name is Andrew, and with me is John.
Yeah.
And yesterday we did a bunch of bullshit. Basically, talked to a bunch of people, and then we finally get to actually do this court case. So let's get into it. Or not yesterday.
Wednesday.
Right.
Yeah.
20th February, 9:23 a.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. Dun dun.
Dum.
Well, I never expected this. Who'd have thought we'd be back here again so soon?
We are on a study tour of Great Britain with the intention of learning the country's legal practices.
Wow, I've never heard this before.
In order to research the latest court procedures here, we need as much court experience as possible.
That could have been one line. You literally could have just cut out the last dialogue box, and it would not have changed anything.
Or the first one.
Yeah. I mean, cut out the first one. Is what I meant.
Yeah.
Like, we gained nothing from that. Well, yes, I suppose that's true, but for the person in the dock, it may well be his or her one and only time in court, and it could be life-changing. In which case, treating it as research may seem a little crass.
Oh, when you put it like that, you're quite right.
Yeah, God, think about what you say, Susato. Jesus.
Yeah.
Good morning! Ah, Mr. Natsume. Good morning.
Oh dear, are you alright? Your eyes are terribly bloodshot.
Are they? The early bird catches the worm, as they say here in Britain. Yes, I've heard that expression. But I really don't want to catch a worm. So I tried desperately not to wake up early, but I was so tired I couldn't catch a wink. And now I'm absolutely exhausted as a result. Do all literary people take things so literally?
Thank you for putting your faith in us today, Mr. Natsume.
I wish I had 9 lives. My whole future hangs in the balance. I'm too terrified to tremble. As he trembles.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that cat that we saw for 2 seconds is going to be like the key to the entire case somehow.
Oh, yeah.
Because I keep making cat references. Really? Because I can feel tremors in the floor. I can't do this! I can't take it! Although, locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire? Yes? I caught a glimpse of the public gallery as I walked by the courtroom. It looked like the opening night of the opera. There were so many people. I had no idea my case was such a notorious affair here in London. Oh, neither did I. Also, the victim's not even dead. Still. Like, we could literally just wait for her to wake up and ask her.
Yeah.
Do you know why that might be, Miss Susato?
I'm Mr. Naruhodo, but I have no idea.
They're all here to see a foreigner die.
Exactly.
So that all-knowing look on your face is just a coincidence then, is it? Don't hide the truth from me! It's because of the Reaper, isn't it? Lord Van Zeeks? How many times are we going to talk about it? We've said this like 8 times. Like, we know it's him already, right? Like,
yes.
Come on. Is that right, Mrs. Sato?
I purchased as many different newspapers as I could find this morning, and yes.
Why?
As we already know, the Reaper's gonna be prosecuted. He's on the front page of everyone.
I knew it! There were so many careful clues.
Sometimes after the prosecutor was dubbed the Reaper of the Bailey. He stopped appearing in court scenes. It's been several years now, in fact, until the day before yesterday, like we talked about.
Yeah, yesterday.
In ad nauseum.
Yes, Inspector Gretz told us something similar, didn't he? Yeah, even the game's calling it out. No, we don't need a flashback. Oh my god. The trial 2 days ago marked Lord Van Zeek's return to the courtroom after a very long hiatus. The trial of Magnus McGilded. Ugh, what a harrowing experience that was. Jake says we always need a flashback.
I believe that appearance made even greater waves here in the capital than today's.
wouldn't have realized, of course, having only just arrived in the country.
Why is the Reaper back in the Bailey so soon for what appears to be a mundane murder?
Jake says in the second game there's an entire trial in a flashback. I hope it's in the sepia tone the entire time.
Oh my god. That's the question the papers are asking, and they are all speculating various answers.
There was a case I think in Apollo Justice that was like a flashback to the earlier games, and it used art assets from the earlier games.
Oh, that's neat.
Which was a nice touch, and the same music and stuff. It was nice. Mundane is the most significant saga of the century to some of us.
Oh, no offense, Mr. Natsume, but that is how the papers are describing it.
Well, lest we also forget the fact that it could spark an international incident. Obviously, the reappearance of this infamous prosecutor has caught people's attention. There's another blatant similarity with the trial of 2 days ago.
Yes, I agree.
Locum student Mr. Naruhodo Esquire. It's you. Me? Well, I suppose that's true. Both times it is you who stands against this legendary prosecutor. It can only mean that you're friends with the Reaper! Please, I don't rub shoulders with Deathbringers.
I'm afraid that there's really only one other explanation. The Supreme Court Justice is rigging all of this. It can only be another example, Mr. Naruhodo, of your uncommon bad luck.
I mean, we know that the Supreme Court guy is just messing with us. Thanks for that. Oh, this is just my luck. Why must I be represented by a man with such frail fortune? By the least lucky lawyer alive. Well, let's not forget that it was you, Mr. Natsume, who asked me to represent you.
Shit!
Yes, it's true that I'm just a student due to London with little in the way of experience or skills or luck. But I promise you this.
Yes, the truth statement.
Yes, I will fight your corner until the bitter end. Shouldn't we fight in your corner? Until the bitter end. And I will believe in you, Mr. Natsume. Oh, benevolent locum student, Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
You're not alone here with us, Mr. Natsume. Whatever happens, we will always be on your side. Except in the gallows.
Yeah, if you get to that point, you're screwed. See it. Oh, benevolent non-locum assistant Miss Mikatoba Esquires. I am in your debt forever! I shall never forget this great kindness for as long as I live. Mr. Natsume, counsel for the defense. The court session is about to begin. Kindly make your way to the courtroom at once. This is what British people sound like. Alright then, Mr. Natsume, it's time. Let's go. Yes, yes, yes! Yes, Solid Snake is the bailiff. This is it. My second appearance in a British courtroom. And my second trial against the Reaper. I hope you're watching over me, Kazuma. Because this time I won't let my faith waver. I believe in my client to the last.
Yeah.
Just like you believed in me. I believe I can do this now. I'm ready for this fight.
You gotta make sure they get that, handkerchief physics.
Yeah.
Get their money's worth out of it.
20th February. 10 a.m. Was that 3 hours? Wasn't it 7 when we got here? Was it 7 or 9?
No, it was 9.
Okay. 20th February, 10 a.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. Dun dun.
Dun dun.
Okay, I can't wait to see who the jury is and how related they are to this case.
Oh my God.
It's gonna be the worst.
I have a feeling.
Oh wait.
Oh, the maid.
And one of the witnesses from the first trial. What the fuck?
Oh my God. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. I now call upon the counsels for the prosecution and defense to declare their willingness to proceed. The prosecution is fully prepared, my lord.
The defense is ready, my lord. The Nipponese are a truly fascinating breed. Sorry, what?
It's called racism.
Yeah.
Renaissance.
Lord Strongheart has told me all about you. Said you are a student who arrived in London but 2 days ago, a mere amateur. Dude, you
Didn't
can't.
he know all that from
Yeah.
the trial?
Dude, you can't trash talk after you lose. Like,
Yeah.
you can't do it. To do a point, you being a compatriot, you feel compelled to try to help the accused, I suppose. Typical Nipponese arrogance.
Fuck. Forgive me, but I believe arrogance is an appropriate description, you dick.
Suzaru-san.
After all, at our previous encounter, the defendant was found to be innocent. And then I killed him.
Very true. And a most fascinating, if dark, trial it was, too. The tragic conclusion came later, of course. Here's to the acquitted and his unfortunate violent end. My god. Gary.
Oh, Gary.
He's just crying in the background.
Thank you, counsels. I see both sides are in fine fettle. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, are you ready to carry out your duties here in court as impartial members of the public?
Dude, fuck, I can't do this stupid Australian accent I was doing for this guy. You never know when you might be down on your luck, but I believe in fair play for everyone.
I can do her
Okay.
if you want.
Okay. Dude, yeah, let's just go, like, every other one.
Yeah. But I must warn you, I'm rather more ruthless than I appear. I don't know if I'll stick with that voice, but...
Oh, well, not me. What you see is what you get. I'm a peace-loving fellow.
Wait, is that like the other guy, but just like with a better hat?
Maybe. Oh, well, this is one that I was doing earlier. Do you want me to keep doing her, or do you want to...
Yeah.
Okay. I'm afraid to say it's quite possible that Mustache Foreigner did the deed. You're this one.
Oh my god.
Good luck.
Come on, what are we waiting for? No doubt he did it anyway.
Eh? Sorry? Didn't quite catch that.
Very well, let us proceed.
Yeah, Jake points out that juror number 1 was literally accused of murder by the defense lawyer 2 days ago. How is this possibly okay?
Oh my god.
Your opening statement, if you please, Lord Van Zix.
Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance. We don't need to hear this every 2 minutes! It just... Oh my god. Very recently, Great Britain signed an alliance with the rising power in the Far East. The accused in the dock today is a student from that same land, a certain Mr. Soseki Natsume. And while our country has extended this foreign student the warmest of welcomes, regrettably the kindness has not been returned. In fact, the student is accused of a most sinister act. Of plunging a knife into the back of an innocent woman who was doing nothing but walking down the street. Oh, knife crime, I tell you from bitter experience, those are the worst. Bloody oath they are.
Just look at the sallow complexion and short stature. He's one of those dreadful Japanese.
That may or may not stick.
That's okay.
Come on, let's get over with this. With me now, everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Sorry, didn't quite catch that. This is good. This is great. Pray, forgive the discourtesy of smashing my hollow chalice here in this great chamber.
As he grabs a new one.
Yeah. Allow me to call the first witness to the stand.
Very well. Bailiff, lead the inspector in, please.
still eating fish and chips.
Okay.
Your name and occupation, please?
Yes, sir. Tobias Gregson, Detective Inspector at Scotland Yard.
Would you please summarize the events of the case for the court, Inspector?
The victim is thought to be a young woman in her 20s by the name of Olive Green.
That is not how I was imagining the victim. I gotta say.
I also think that's not how she was represented in the art.
Yeah.
Like, from the crime.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon, Inspector. Thought to be... Yes. Having been stabbed in the back by her attacker's knife, the victim fell unconscious. That was 3 days ago now, and she's been comatose ever since.
What? So they don't even know who she is for sure? So, like... I think in real life, like, they couldn't try him with murder until she actually died, right? Like,
Yeah.
it could be
Because
attempted murder, maybe, but, like...
yeah.
Yeah.
Or like aggravated assault with a deadly
Yeah.
weapon or something.
Comatose, I see. But her life is not in danger.
Fortunately for the Eastern student, the charge will not be murder. For once in this entire series. Pray elaborate on the details, Inspector. Bleh.
Sir, if I could ask everyone to look at the street map. As I mentioned, the incident took place 3 days ago, and around 5 in the afternoon. It happened on the pavement running alongside Briar Road, a wide thoroughfare for horse-drawn vehicles. It had not long since stopped snowing as the victim, Miss Green, was walking down the street. Out of the blue, she was approached from behind by the accused and stabbed in the back. Luckily, the young lady's life was spared and she currently being treated in one of the city's hospitals. But being unconscious as she is, we've been unable to take a statement from her, of course. This is the case file with everything we know about the victim so far. Thank you, Inspector. The court will accept the documents as evidence if you please.
The case file has been entered into the court record. And what are the weapons that was used? Let's look at this. The incident report details young woman rendered unconscious following a stab wound to the back. Victim Olive Green, female, stout build, early 20s. Location pavement of Briar Road, east side. Reporting officer Royley Beat. Additional notes, the victim remains unconscious, her name was gleaned from her personal effects, other details were unknown. Apart from the single stab wound from the large knife, no other signs of injury were observed. The assailant was seen running away by the reporting officer and was successfully arrested the following day. Wait, so a police officer saw him run away, and it took him a whole day to catch him across the street?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Didn't you know the Scotland Yard is the best?
Yeah. So I feel like they keep making a point of that they only know who she is from her personal effects. She's probably not going to be this person. Like, right? Like Olive Green's going to be someone else. And somehow her identity, or like her real identity, will be relevant.
She did it to herself.
Yeah.
Sir, I have that here. It was removed from the victim's back.
That's good. Probably better not to leave it there. Ouch. That thing is starting to make me scared to walk down the street now.
That's what she said.
Hey.
Such a heavy blade like that, almost anybody would have been able to stab the poor woman.
Even the scragged looking Suzeki-san, I suppose.
A common or garden jackknife, I would say, rather nondescript.
Common or garden, is that one term? Like, is that one?
Oh, I think that's like an adjective
Yeah.
thing.
Thank you, Inspector. The court accepts the blade as evidence.
The jackknife has been entered into the court record.
Now then, what do we know of the motive? Money or valuables, I presume?
None. There's
Yeah.
literally no motive.
Yeah, there's no reason. Is it broken? Or is it just shaped like that?
It's broken. Oh! Here, Mr. Naruhodo! Just at the tip! That's what she said. A small piece of the blade appears to be missing.
Oof. You're right. Well spotted, Mrs. Otto.
I wonder what could have happened to it.
Oh, we got Gary on the desk.
Oh.
Hi, Gary. Yes. You don't think it could still be lodged in the victim, do you?
Oh dear! I do hope not. That sounds terribly painful. Now this sounds really convoluted, and I don't know how it would make sense, but what if this... Like, what if she doesn't have the, like, tip in her back?
Uh-huh. And that's somehow relevant.
Yeah, and, like, this... Like, who they have isn't who was stabbed.
Yeah, yeah.
Or something like that.
I guess it could have been broken beforehand, too. Gary, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's just knocking stuff off my desk.
From what we can tell by looking at the woman's possessions, it seems like she's a poor student herself. Hard to imagine she would want to have anything much worth pinching the law. I see. Well, in that case, are we looking at some deep-seated resentment toward the victim? I'm afraid I couldn't say. Apart from visiting the second-hand bookshop, the defendant, Mr. Natsume, doesn't appear to get out much. At this moment in time, we haven't been able to establish any sort of connection between him and the victim.
Yes!
If theft and grievance have been ruled out as the motive, what reason could Mr. Natsume possibly have had for stabbing the young woman? Yet you arrested the man in spite of that, in a totally unjustified and heavy-handed way.
Objection!
Whoa, okay. Pray forgive the discourtesy of thinking a freshly uncorked bottle into the public gallery.
Except it had a cork.
Yeah. But your words have soured its hollowed bouquet. For it is you, my learned friend, who is being heavy-handed here. What? Scarlet Yarn does not arrest people without good cause. That should be beyond question. Yes.
Oh, yes.
Never question authority. That's good. That's good.
Yep. Don't police the police.
Yep.
They're doing everything fine.
Oh, well, Gary. Okay, Gary, come on. There, I'm going to hold on to it. We'll stop getting in the way. Oh, no, he does not want to be held. He wants to climb up the chair. All right. Gary, what are you... Okay. Yep, there we go. There we go. Inspector Gregson, the prosecution calls for your formal testimony. There we go. Now he's in the back of the chair. This is good. Explain to the court precisely why the constabulary came to arrest the Nipponese student.
Yes, sir.
Gary. Mr. Natsume's arrest.
As I said, it was 5 o'clock in the afternoon when the incident occurred, and there was an unusually light fog. Visibility was reasonably good, and there was no one else about but the victim and the accused. Out of the blue, the victim was stabbed from behind and subsequently collapsed on the pavement. The accused ran off, scattering his belongings all over the floor. Those being a number of old books he just bought, he was on his way home from a bookshop, it seems. It was just a matter of working out who the books belonged to, and we found the broker to arrest him. Old books, you say? Yes, my lord. I have a photograph here of the scene of the crime, taken immediately after the incident.
Oh, we did see this picture. Because I remember commenting on the books.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, you can clearly see the books to which you are referring. I will take that photographic print as evidence, please, Inspector.
The crime scene photographs in the court record. Your Nepalese are a spineless breed, too cowardly to admit defeat. Jesus Christ, dude.
I like that all of the snow was pushed out around her.
Yeah.
Like, did her fall push all the snow out?
Yeah. The body heat just melted it all. So what are these books like? I don't really feel like. I don't know. Maybe we'll comment on the actual books, but like these don't. I mean, we comment like this kind of looks like Hebrew, I guess. Like, you know, like I don't know if these are even the right books. That's what we'll find out. Denying everything, despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary. Well,
Forgive me, Lord Menzies, but the defendant is not denying everything as you put it.
What are you doing, Mrs. Otto? Stop talking in court, you woman.
Do go on.
Mr. Natsumi has admitted to playing some part in the incident. Isn't that right, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, now you mention it. When we visited him in the prison yesterday, he did tell us what all had happened. Yeah, that's not important. We don't need to talk about that. It's not relevant. As I was walking along... Oh, shit, I can't do his voice in the prosecutor. Shit. As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the sole silhouette of another ahead of me. A woman wearing a green overcoat she was, just as I went to overtake her. She suddenly let out a little scream and collapsed into the cold, hard slabs of stone at my feet. I was terrified. I had to get away from there. So I ran as fast as my legs would carry me back to my accursed lodgings. A green overcoat. Was I this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember his voice acting. Well, that's exactly what the woman in that print was wearing. Oh my, a photographic print in full color. What will the world come up with next? Brendan has done nothing more than admit he fled the scene of a terrifying incident. It does not mean he's guilty of the heinous crime of stabbing the woman in the back. It's heinous, not heinous. Right. There was nobody else there at the time. Just the two of them. The victim and the accused. In other words, there is nobody else who could possibly have stabbed the woman. In fact, that the accused concedes. Ugh.
No.
Not quite, yeah.
It seems this cross-examination could prove to be pivotal, counsel. Proceed, please.
Yes, my lord. Nothing for it. I have to use this cross-examination to turn the tables here. It's our only chance.
Thank you for explaining the game mechanic again.
Cross-examination. Mr. Natsume's arrest. Okay, so I guess are we just gonna press in everything?
Yeah.
Let me just think about it. I feel like this might be it, because like, are they the right books or not? Okay.
Hold it!
A light fog, you say?
Well, light for London. You could see the opposite side of the street for once, not much further, I think.
That's light, is it?
Around these parts, yes. No, not something I'd expect a Japanese fellow like yourself to know, of course.
I've read that London is famous for its fog. But in my country, people usually imagine that gives the city a rather beautiful appearance. Ah, how quaint.
Yes, well, it's not something the Londoners, us Londoners, tend to romanticize, as I expect you can appreciate.
I see.
With your twitchy eyes.
Yeah.
At this time of year, the fog causes a large number of accidents, especially when it is heavy. Sometimes you can't see even your own head at the end of your arm. Indeed, the other day I was very nearly trampled by horses before I could see the carriage they were pulling.
Ugh. Susanna and I should definitely remember to stop, look, and listen.
Is that a reference to, like, Vanilla Ice?
I don't know. However, on the day that concerns us, the fog was somewhat lighter than usual. A fact no doubt lamented by the accused. That didn't help us, okay.
Hold it!
Are you able to state that with any certainty? Quite simply, my learned friend. Because that is what the witnesses to this crime have told us. So they keep saying there's only 2 people, but if there are witnesses, like, they were there too, right? Like,
Yeah.
When did we get to bring that up? Yes, Inspector Gregson mentioned the witnesses yesterday, didn't he?
That's right! One of them is a policeman, I believe, from Scotland Yard.
That is correct, Mum.
Then we must hear their testimony. The prosecution will, of course, cause them to the stand, should it be necessary.
But the defense should also be able to call
Yeah.
witnesses.
But wait a minute. At 5 o'clock in the afternoon in the middle of winter, it would have been dark already. No matter how light the fog might have been, no one could have seen. I'm unaware of the situation on your tiny island in the east. I think Japan's bigger than Britain. Like, bigger the landmass. But here in the capital city of Great Britain, all main roads are illuminated in the night by gas streetlights. Ah. The prosecution believes there would have been ample light by which to witness the crime.
Quite. Here in London, for the first time in history, mankind has completely conquered the darkness.
Which means we really need to hear those witnesses' statements. If I could just get through the fog of this cross-examination, maybe we'll be able to. It seems the counsel for the defense is taking stock. Continue with your testimony, Inspector.
Hold it!
From behind, you say?
That's right. As you can see from the print. Yes, quite so, Inspector. The handle of the weapon is clearly protruding from the victim's back.
She could have been stabbed from the front with a handle, and the handle went all the way through. I solved the case.
And you say this poor woman, Miss Green, remains in critical condition, comatose no less. I'm afraid so, my lord, yes. She's being treated at Bart's. I was hopeful that she'd come round before the trial started so I could take a statement, but it wasn't to be. Yes, that is indeed a pity. It could have been most illuminating to hear the victim's own account of the events.
If only we waited more than 2 days to have a trial.
Yeah.
Luck is on your client's side, it seems. On the contrary, my client has been exceedingly unlucky. Your force of tone is seriously undermined by those disturbingly wide eyes, I'm afraid. Ugh, was that just actual racism? Like...
Hold it!
Mr. Natsume's belongings?
I think you'll find it's all there in the photographic print of the crimes. Yes, the 3 books on the floor. That's right, my lord. Second-hand books they were. Irreparably damaged after falling into the snow, of course.
As we know, snow just melts books. They just...
Yep.
They just dissolve. The accused could easily have carried all all 3 books in one hand. Which means his other hand would have been free to wield a knife, for example.
He's very clever, isn't he?
What do you mean?
He's made it extremely hard for you to assert that Mr. Natsumi had his hands full with his books.
I honestly wasn't even going to think together.
He's managed to close the one avenue of escape we might have had before we even knew it was there.
Yep, that's the only way we can get out of this.
Yep.
The books to hands ratio.
You mean to say the defendant was holding his belongings as he thrust the knife into the woman's back? That must be what happened, my lord, yes.
Hold it!
The defendant apparently visits a second-hand bookshop on a daily basis.
Yes, so I understand. A shop full of old English literature.
I commend the accused on the lofty subject matter of his scholarly attention.
The books room was stacked to floor to ceiling with those musty old books.
Can you tell us more about the bookshop in question, please, Inspector?
Well, if I must, I'll have to ask you to look at the street map again, I'm afraid. The closest second-hand bookshop to the accused lodging is this place, Urban Books.
Around the corner, like literally.
A little place on the corner of Briar Road and Mearsham Street. As it happens, the accused is currently living in lodgings on the other side of Briar Road at the opposite end. Which means it doesn't take a genius to work out the route he would have taken home. Something like this.
The local map's information has been updated in the court record.
Yes, I concur with your conclusions, Inspector.
I wanted the maps. Okay.
The defendant would clearly have passed the scene of the crime on his way home from that particular shop.
Mr. Naruhodo! I think that was the inspector just told us could turn out to be of vital importance.
Not really. Yes, I agree. The most important point that the inspector just made being... Let's see. Your book... Okay, so it's a different bookshop. Because the one nearby is Bourbon Books.
Yeah.
And this receipt that proves that he was at a different bookshop at the time. Or, like, right before the time. Inspector Gregson, may I ask you a favor?
What?
Would you kindly add the name of the bookshop to your formal testimony, please? I believe it may be of vital importance.
Maybe.
Oh, well, you know. I mean, yes. It could be a very important clue.
Very well. Not that I can see it being of any great significance. But please revise your testimony accordingly, Inspector. Yes, sir, my lord. Whatever you say.
Could the man be any more sardonic? Alright, so I think we're just going to present here.
Objection!
Objection! If I could just stop you there, Inspector Gregson.
What is it, Sunshine? I'm a busy man, you know.
This is literally your job. Shut up. This is a receipt that we found in Mr. Natsume's room. It was issued on the day of the incident and details the purchase of 3 second-hand books.
And you found that in the accused room, did you?
Yes, but the point is not where the receipt was found, but the name of the shop printed on it. Yeah, shouldn't the police have found that? Like, it was, like, on the table. Like, it wasn't hidden at all.
Again, Scotland Yard is clearly the best.
Yeah. Go on. This receipt was issued from a bookshop called Your Books.
Your books? Y-O-R-E, I presume?
Yes, my lord. So Mr. Natsume did indeed purchase a number of books at a second-hand bookshop that day. However, the bookshop in question was not Bourbon Books.
What? Inspector, do you know of this other bookshop?
Oh,
Yes, sir.
that's you.
Your Books is another second-hand bookshop not far from Bourbon Books. It's just that, well, it's such a small place, I didn't think the accused would have known about it.
Objection.
But in fact, that is the bookshop which the defendant visited on the day in question. And this receipt proves it.
Objection.
Yes, for what difference it makes. Wherever the man purchased his musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis.
Objection.
I disagree. I mean, after all,
I have here be of help.
yes, thank you. Have a look at this, please. The defendant had been returning from Bourbon Books. Then yes, he would almost certainly have passed the place where Miss Green was attacked. However, if we take into account the fact that he was actually another bookshop, Your Books, it may very well turn out that he wouldn't have passed the location at all. But he also already said that that he was walking by her. I thought it was going to be like the books were different. Could that be true?
My! Depends on where the other bookshop is, but I do declare it may be a possibility.
Is that right, Mr. Lawyer, sir? What you just said? Absolutely. It absolutely could be right. That's good. That's a good legal argument.
Yep. Inspector Driggs, where is this Your Books establishment?
Right next door to Bourbon.
Upstairs.
Yep.
Bourbon.
Well, obviously we looked into that. It turns out that Your Books is just here on the next corner.
Yeah,
near
so that
Church
doesn't
Street.
help us out. God damn. Look, my
Well, he
information
could
is
go
not
down
correct.
like Caliban
Yeah,
or Calabash.
There you have it, as you can clearly see now. Oh. My learned Nipponese friend is obviously in training to be a clown. Is the way he regales us with such witticisms. To your future career in the circus.
Grr! You put that glass down now, or I'll put it down for you.
Jesus, she's not taking any shit today.
I didn't think I needed to spell it out, but here we go. If the accused was coming home from Your Books instead of Bourbon Books, there's no doubt he still would have passed the place where the victim was stabbed. Yes, thank you, Inspector.
Allow me to reiterate for my learned, if somewhat slow, Nipponese friend. Wherever the man purchases musty tomes, it makes no difference in the final analysis. Ah! As I suspected, you can't fool me, and I don't suggest you try.
What did I say? I had enough of this now.
Oh,
Beg your pardon. Terribly sorry, but would you mind repeating that?
I like that the old person is still at the end.
Yeah.
Mr. Naruhodo! We mustn't give up!
Wait. What do you mean?
If the prosecutor's assertions is correct, then members of the jury may very well decide that Mr. Natsume is guilty. Allow me to explain the game mechanics again.
Ah, she's absolutely right.
We must consider the assertion just put forward by the prosecution very, very carefully.
Claims Suzuki-san must have passed the location of the incident on his way home from Your Books, but I mean, there are two possible routes,
Yeah.
which could be it. I still think that we know that he walked past him because that's what he said anyway. I think it's going to be the actual books themselves, but
Nope.
the assertion just made by the prosecution is fundamentally flawed.
Explain yourself, counsel.
Yes, my lord. You can see what I mean on this map. When returning from your books to his lodgings. Oh, maybe this is just enough to get the witnesses out. Right, because if we say, oh, well, he could have gone in this other way, then they bring out the witnesses to testify that he went that way, and then we can ask the witnesses about their problems. I guess that's the whole strategy. I don't know. Mr. Natsume could have followed the route suggested by the prosecution. However, that isn't the only conceivable route to take between the two places. If the defendant used these streets, look what happens. He arrives back at his lodgings without passing the location where the victim was attacked.
Objection!
Talking back to a clown is a fool's errand, of course. However, I feel compelled to point out that route is what is commonly referred to as the long way around. The same distance. On a cold winter's night, why would any man choose to take a longer route home? Is it longer? Like, it looks the same. Well, the answer is extremely simple. He wouldn't. In other words, the accused took the obvious route back to his lodgings and is the obvious perpetrator of this crime.
Objection!
But, yes, I've got it. Obviously, we must ask the man himself. Ask Mr. Natsume which route he took home. I have already informed the court of the accuser's response to such questioning. He claims he has no recollection.
That's right. As I said, the rogue seems to spend his time outside wandering aimlessly from A to B.
Well, then, that definitely makes it more questionable. We're trying to take it.
That day was no exception. He says he doesn't remember where he was or which route he took home.
Yeah, then, like, the fact that he, like, aimlessly wanders makes sense that he would take the long route.
Yeah, I don't believe this! I thank you, my learned friend, and suggest that we do not waste any more of the court's time by wandering aimlessly around this subject. Pray, what say you, insightful jurors? But even if that is the case, the defense still... Oh my god. I agree with Lord Van Zykes. Wholeheartedly and in every way. What? I don't believe it! Does this mean... We members of the jury are completely convinced now.
Very well, in that case, I hereby call upon all members of the jury to present your findings to the court.
Guilty!
Whoa.
Guilty. Guilty.
This wasn't in the last round.
Guilty. Guilty.
They didn't have voice
fuck?
acting. Yeah. They didn't have voice acting for the jurors the first time. Alright. Damn, we got roasted. We'll have to do the thing where we bounce them off each other now.
It would appear the jury's lead is unanimous.
To the insightful members of the jury, I applaud your brave resolve. You serve Queen and country admirably.
Mr. Naruhodo, we fucked up.
Damn. No, not yet. This isn't over yet. I still have one last chance to sway the opinion of the jury. I have to tip the balance of those scales the other way. I have to turn this around. Somehow. It's also the eyes of Koi not yet willing to give up and die. So I presume you intend to wield your right your rights again in this trial. Rights of the defense written into antiquated British law that should have been buried long ago. Call it antiquated if you will, but it's the defense's prerogative to carry out a summation examination if it so chooses.
Well, counsel, in accordance with the letter of the law, we shall proceed with a summation examination. Are the members of the jury ready, Mr. Ford?
Also, wasn't he like accused of crimes?
Yeah, Bruce. This guy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course we're ready. I'm all too familiar with that Nibbanese whippersnapper and his onkus refusal to throw in his alley. That was a weird accent.
Very well then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, will you each explain on what grounds you have determined the defendant to be guilty?
Oh yeah, wasn't he like he did like bank fraud or something? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, something like that.
So,
like,
so we definitely know the first guy is A, racism, and B, because you're representing them.
yeah. The jurors' contentions. For pity's sake, that little Nipponese oddity already admitted himself, didn't he?
Rain collapsed before his eyes. Why it can only have been the victim?
The man wouldn't have gone back around the houses on his way back from the bookshop, not in winter. So the poor woman was attacked from behind, was she? How dreadful.
I really don't care. Can't we just wrap this up now? I've got work to be doing.
That's a good jury attitude right there. Your books, yes, nice shop that. But bourbon books? No, not worth a visit.
With only minor exceptions, the reasons for finding the defendant guilty are all too clear.
When this stabbing occurred, the only two people at this scene were the victim and the accused.
And the witnesses.
Yeah, the witnesses. When are we going to get to that? And the accused himself has admitted to seeing the victim in her green overcoat sink to the ground before his eyes. Oh, was that? We were trying to prove that it was like a different woman that he saw in the street, and like two different women happened to fall down. Okay.
Furthermore, we have heard from the inspector that the defendant then fled the scene. I must say I would have ample grounds to convict this man already.
Oh, even the judge appears convinced of Mr. Naruhodo's guilt, or Natsume's guilt.
What, me? No! Guilty.
Not again.
Yeah. Why do you have to run away like that? How are we supposed to believe in some phantom attacker that nobody could see? This is impossible. How can I possibly make a case for the defense?
No time for grumbling. If we want to force the trial to continue.
Yes, I know. I have to turn the tide. I must make the jurors change their minds. Well, four of them, at least.
Exactly. We have no choice but to forge forward.
You have the floor, counsel. Begin your summation examination.
Yes, my lord. I just need to keep this trial going somehow. Whatever it takes. Come on, Ryunosuke, you can do it. I think it's Ryunosuke, I think is closer, I don't know, whatever. Jury examination. Defense's rebuttal. Okay. So this won't help us. Oops, shit. Well, I'm gonna hear this talk now and then we'll look at it.
It sends a shiver down my spine to hear the members of the jury so convinced of Mr. Natsume's guilt. But I can't help feeling that some of their opinions are rather subjective.
I agree, it's the relevance of what some of them are saying that sends a shiver down my spine. Still, at least some of their assertions don't actually incriminate Mr. Natsume of anything. That's something.
We must use that to our advantage, Mr. Naruhodo, cunningly.
Yes, you're right. Let's listen to the jurors again carefully. And if any of their assertions are at odds, I'll put them mercilessly against each other.
Yes! Back! Hit them all against each other!
Oh, I guess I can press them too. I don't see anything that we can really pit, so I guess we'll have to fucking press them about it.
Yeah, and then once we pit them, we can then, or press them,
Yeah,
we can then pit them against each other.
yeah. Excuse me, but aren't you... Yes, that's right. I was the witness stand myself just 2 days ago. Yeah, I had a feeling I knew your face. Or the sight of it, anyway. If I remember correctly, you're a banker, aren't you? That's right. After the gold rush down under, I came back to London for work. It was all going swimmingly until you started fossicking around. Bruce Fairplay was a man of repute. Sorry. Don't think I've forgotten how you treated me the other day. You had me and that young Hannah pegged as criminals. Oh, well, you know, water under the bridge. And there's all sorts of rumors buzzing around. And the police have been badgering me non-stop.
Yeah, because you're a criminal.
Yeah, if I could turn back the clock. Well, anyway, I don't know about the Haddo, but at least I'm in the clear now. And free to make up my own mind about who's guilty and who isn't. Thank goodness. Alright, maybe I must struggle to change this man's mind, given our awkward history.
It's become a Mr. First Man.
Did you change anything? No.
Hold it!
You're right that at the time of the incident, the defendant admits to having seen someone wearing a green overcoat walking ahead of him.
Very quiet. Precisely my point. Clearly that someone's wearing green was the victim. And clearly the funny little Lebanese man with the disturbing mustache is the culprit.
But let's not forget, madam, the defendant vehemently denies attacking the woman.
Why, of course he does. If he admits to stabbing her, his life is over. The man is obviously a liver-faced coward, honestly claiming that the woman simply collapsed before his eyes.
But if that's a lie, as you're suggesting, do you not think you would have concocted something more credible?
He couldn't say after all. You are foreign. Who's to say what goes through your funny little minds?
Wow. I can tell you what's going through my funny little mind right now, but you wouldn't like it.
Do declare this man has already made the admission. He himself has stated that there was nobody else around. Surely the conclusion is obvious. No one else could possibly have committed this awful crime.
Ugh.
Anyone would have done it. The accused must be the man. Really, it couldn't be more simple.
Your argument is compelling. In its simplicity, I must admit.
Too kind, my lord.
That went well for her. I can't figure out which one's good. But you can't deny that there are other routes Mr. Natsume could have taken back from your books. Oh yes, like you drew in the map, you mean. What was it? Calabash Road or something? Precisely. But it seems to me that what counts is whether the little Japanese fellow actually went that way or not. Well, yes, that's true. And at the moment, there's no proof that shows he did, is there? Well, yes, that's true as well. And as I understand it, the accused himself doesn't remember which way he went, does he? Well, yes, that's annoyingly true. Winter nights are dark and cold, so the way I see it, you'd want to get home as quickly as possible. Yes. Why is all this true? So really, the only thing that makes sense is that he went home along Briar Road. I'm supposed to be convincing you here. I've given it a lot of thought, you know. I didn't just make up my mind on the whim that he did it. I mean, if there was some logical reason why he might have gone the Calabash Road way, it'd be different.
Hint, hint.
Yeah, I'd be happy to reconsider my position in that case. Honest, I would. A reason why Suzuki said might have taken the longer way home. Yeah.
Yes, a good reason. I don't imagine you'll be able to sway this young man's opinion without it.
Okay, we'll take a look at the map real quick. But I don't think we have the names of anything else. Like if we discovered that there's like a different store like on this corner down here, then maybe like he would have swung by there. I don't know.
Or he could like cut through the alleyway or something.
Yeah.
Hold it!
Whatever is the matter, young man? You're the wife of Mr. Garadeb, aren't you? The landlord who rents Mr. Natsume's room? The master's wife? Where do you get your ideas, sir? I'm the maid, you understand. She's keeping up that charade. Ugh, this is going to be awkward. Why didn't you mention this yesterday? You've been selected for the jury in this trial, I mean? Well, I was told not to mention it to anyone until the day of the trial, you see. It was in the letter I received. The instructions were very clear, so I'm afraid I had no choice. I see. Anyway, Mr. Natsume, the defendant, takes lodging in your master's house, doesn't he? Okay, so I'm thinking, like, you get paid something when you go on jury duty, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, she's going to report that she's being away from her job, but it's not actually her job. Like, it's actually a lie. So
Yeah, she's committed fraud.
yeah.
Also, she would never be allowed on a jury. She knows the defendant.
Yeah, well, yeah, she has a business relationship with the defendant.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right, although he's only been in a little over a week now. And in that time, surely you must have taken stock of his character. Does Mr. Natsume look like the kind of man who would commit a crime such as this? Oh my goodness me, yes, he's just a sort. What? Spending all his time in that dark and dingy room, sporting that unscrupulous mustache? The man never speaks, and don't get me started on those shifty eyes. All the neighbors are talking about him. I've heard them, you know. People think he must be building a bomb in there or something.
Oh dear, poor Mr. Natsume. How could people say such things about him? He's just a harmless bookworm, nothing more.
Well, you just call him a worm, so... Damn, Bruce. Anyway, I better be careful about inviting this maid to speak. She's said enough damning things already. I'm not getting anything out of this.
Hold it!
Man's life is on the line here, sir. This will take as long as it takes.
Don't get clever with me now, son. My life's on the line too, and so is my family's.
Ah,
The likes of you wouldn't understand, but a laborer like me can't afford to take time off. If I don't work, I don't eat, and neither do the wife and kids.
oh, I see. That must be very hard.
I go to the union every morning to find out what needs doing, and if you're late and the work's taken, it's tough. This time of year, there's water and gas supply pipes bursting left and right and center. They're after cheap labor to get the roads dug up to fix it. It's hard slog from day till dusk, isn't it?
So you were digging up the roads on the day of the incident as well, were you?
That's right, I'm one of the witnesses.
Yeah.
In fact, I remember rightly. It was just round the corner from where it all happened.
By that old bookshop it was.
Oh, this is it. So the road that they're saying he took is going to be cut off by the construction.
There we go.
What? Yet another coincidence?
That's right. Meerschaum Street it was.
Meerschaum Street.
There are only 3 named streets.
You idiot. Turn number 5. I need you to add that information to your formal statement, please.
What's the point in that? Can't we just get the business over with now?
Please, sir, it's important.
Just fine, I'll do it then.
Okay, so we're gonna pit him against this one.
Objection.
These 2 statements are clearly at odds with one another.
Lord's Counsel, explain yourself.
Please don't point. It wasn't me, I swear.
What? I just want to get this done and dusted.
Well, juror number 3. Oh, me, sir? What? What do you mean? Juror number 5's words just now are extremely significant. Let's take a moment to consider the implications of what's been said on our map of the local area. One day in question, Mr. Natsume visited this bookshop to purchase a number of second-hand books. And on the same day, we now know that there were works being carried out on Meerschaum Street, making it impossible. Which means that the defendant's route home could not have taken him along Meerschaum Street and down Briar Road. Oh, yes, of course. What do you think, sir?
Well, you can't argue with that, really, can you? We must have had a good 2 yards or more of the pavement up. Every gentleman and gentlewoman that came along had to turn back and go the other way.
So the only conclusion is this. The defendant must have taken the longer route back to his lodgings. Yes, I suppose he must have.
I suppose that must be right, eh?
Juror number 3, you said the following. The man wouldn't have gone around the houses on his way back from the bookshop. But we see now that he had no choice. Yes. My lord, Mr. Judge, sir, if I may.
Yes?
I don't think in all good conscience that I can say the man's guilty now. Yes, I'd like to see this trial continue so we can get to the bottom of what really happened. They didn't have him say not guilty this time. Like, I don't know why those voice lines are in there. That's weird. What about you, sir?
Who, me? Well, all right then. If there's a hole in the prosecution's argument, it should be filled in, that's what I say.
Done, Mr. Naruhodo. That was wonderful.
Well, we've managed to change a couple of minds at least. It strengthened our position somewhat. We've also found like another 2 or 3 reasons to appeal the verdict of this case because this trial is clearly bullshit. Like, gonna declare a mistrial.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, and it will prompt the other members of the jury to reconsider their stances as well. They'll be asking themselves if their current leanings are really right or not. Now, if only. If we could just identify one more clue or discrepancy that would make them stop doubting Mr. Natsume. We might be able to tip the balance completely.
Yeah, that's exactly what we've got to do. Exactly. Pantix is looking to bring this trial to an early conclusion. That's what we have to prevent by whatever means we have at our disposal.
Thank you, counsel. On which this summation examination, please?
Yes, my lord. Okay, so we gotta... Alright. Well, we didn't press on this guy yet, so we'll do that.
Hold it!
Sorry. Fold it, you say? Fold what? No. What I said was hold it. What I wanted to ask was, do you visit your books often? I like the old books they have in there, yes. I enjoy reading them over a nice cup of old tea. That's my daily routine, you see. The same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. So he was literally like, what the fuck? They just went to the 6, like, closest people. Or like, hey, you want to be on the jury? And at what time did you visit your books on the day in question? Well, I was picking out books in there all afternoon, and it would have been just before 5 that I left. And my daily routine, you see. Same thing every day, including the day you're all talking about. Just before 5, you say? Exactly when the victim
It's
was
going to
attacked?
turn out he killed the lady.
Yeah, oh my god. Are you sure about the time? He's like, oh yes, I was murdering that lady at that time.
Oh, God.
Are you sure about the time? Oh yes, no mistake there. I remember it well. I'm not about to forget that day in a hurry. Not after the dreadful time I had. What do you mean? Well, I was
Well, the
walking...
knife wouldn't go in.
He's wearing green. And he fell down.
Oh, my God.
That's gonna be it.
Yep, slipped on the ice.
Are you fucking kidding me? Well, I was walking down Calabash Road when I slipped on the ice and donked my head. And we'll pit him against the woman who's like, hey, the defendant said it was a green person in a green coat. Oh my fucking god, are you kidding me? It's always worse after the snow stopped falling. That's when it's most slippery. Knocked myself clean out, I did. I really thought my number was up. Wait a minute, let me get this straight. Yeah, this is a classic Ace Attorney thing. Like, there's actually 2 crime scenes that people don't realize. This happened on Calabash Road? That's right, I live in Cornpipe, you see. What kind of name is Cornpipe? I don't know. Do you smoke corn, or is it like a gas pipe, but with corn that goes through it? I don't know. Heading down Calabash Road is the quickest way for me to get back from your books. Juror number 6, I must insist that you add that information to your formal statement. It may very well be extremely significant. Sorry, extremely sick? No, I'm quite alright now.
You've changed 2 of the jurors' minds, Mr. Naruhodo. Time to change 2 more.
Yeah, it's just 2 more to go.
Deliver the finishing blow now. It's time to turn the tables here. Press and hit the circle button.
Which I knew I'd do as soon as I had a takedown. I suppose words will have to suffice for now. Okay.
Objection.
Those 2 statements clearly show a flaw in the juror's reasoning.
A flaw? What are you talking about, counsel? How dare you speak to a white woman that way?
Well, juror number 2, juror number 6.
Sir. I think perhaps the old man didn't hear you.
Unbelievable. It's not like I was loud or anything. There's at least one fact of which we can be sure here. Wouldn't you want to be loud to be heard? Isn't that how hearing works?
Yeah.
The bookshop receipt found in the defendant's room clearly indicates that on the day of the attack, he had been to your books and purchased a number of secondhand titles. He then returned home on foot.
He had a recollection of his return journey.
That's correct. But what he does remember is seeing someone appear in front of him on the way. Oh, I think we could have discovered these 2 problems in any order. So we can't point out that we already know that he was on Calabash Road. Which is annoying. Someone in a green overcoat who suddenly collapsed on the pavement before his eyes.
Well, there's the poor young woman who was stabbed, obviously.
Objection.
Can you really be sure of that, madam?
My, whatever do you mean?
I'm sure you heard juror number 6's account of what happened to him that day. That same afternoon, there was somebody else apart from the victim who was wearing a green overcoat and who fell over on the icy streets in the neighborhood.
Oh my.
My goodness, you mean... That's right. I'm referring, of course, to the hard of hearing juror number 6. Juror Dix, what?
Are you really suggesting that the person in the green coat whom the defendant saw collapse in front of his eyes was the jolly old gentleman on the end of the bench here with me today?
That is entirely possible, yes. After all, the old man is a somewhat similar build to the victim.
Oh, look at that!
My goodness me. Sorry, you need a pee. And crucially, we know precisely where the old man in the green overcoat fell. John.
On Calabash Road.
We'll take it. Therefore, the person who Mr. Natsume saw collapsing in front of him was in fact juror number 6. It means the defendant must have taken the long route back to his lodgings. And if that's true, then clearly the crime scene on Briar Road where the woman was stabbed was not on his way home.
Oh my.
Yeah, idiot old man, if you hadn't been so daft to be roaming out there, we'd have boxed this off hours ago.
And really, what were you thinking wearing such a befuddling coat? What the fuck did you say to me? Is it a crime for the elderly to walk the streets these days? Is it a crime to slip over on the ice? Is it a crime to keep up with the latest styles and wear a beautiful green overcoat, is it?
Me? Don't mind me. My lord, I do hope it won't cause any inconvenience, but...
You'd like to change your leaning, I presume?
I do declare that I would. I should like to call for the verdict not guilty.
Thank you. And I would too. What? Is it a crime to change your mind, is it? Well... I still want these fireball launching things.
I'm gonna have to put it on my Christmas list.
Well, that summation examination has concluded with a rather large shift in opinion. The ayes 2, the noes 4. To the noes have it. So not guilty, they say. Which means we no longer have a consensus among the members of the jury. The trial will continue.
Objection!
Get over it.
Could it seem churlish of me to drink from my hollow chalice moments after raising an objection? Only to crush it in disgust? Pray forgive the discourtesy. Lord Van It seems I must retract my earlier remark. He's gonna shit-talk the jury now. What do you mean?
Yeah.
I mistakenly credited these jurors with intelligence by describing them as insightful. Yet we have just witnessed them falling for a cheap trick performed by an Eastern entertainer. Dude, you're so salty.
Eh?
Whatever you mean?
Objection.
I haven't tricked anyone. Everything I've said is the truth. Indeed, stalwart juror number 5 was undoubtedly repairing the road, as he claims. I believe you said it was a good 2 yards of the pavement which you had excavated, sir. Well, the Japanese man could have ninja jumped over a 2-yard gap.
Oh my god. That's right. Took me the whole day and they paid me a measly tuppence for it.
Now, my learned fucking hell. Now, my learned Japanese friend, tell me, do you have any notion of the distance that 2 yards represents? Well, if I'm honest, I don't have a clue, no.
2 yards is a little less than 2 meters.
Wow, okay. Less than 2 meters, that's not much at all. In other words, a distance readily vaulted by anyone of moderate vigor.
Yeah.
I fucking called it the ninja jump. Would you agree not, my stylish friend?
I couldn't jump 6 feet.
Yeah, I wouldn't if I didn't have to, right? Like, I'm not gonna jump over a construction site on the road.
Well, I mean, like, I don't think I could just like jump 6 feet forward.
Hey, me. Well, I can't say you're wrong, though.
What? I mean, he would remember if somebody fucking jumped over his work site, right? And did you perchance erect a sign to prevent pedestrians from passing the site of your works?
I wouldn't dream of it. What a waste of time. No coaches would have had a hope passing anyway. And we just turn any gentlefolk back when they come. Kids just jump right over all of us all the time.
The accused is no gentleman, as far as I can see. I have little doubt, however, that he could spring over a 2-yard trench in his meanderings around town. Ah. Is that true, is it? The incontrovertible truth is that the books just purchased by the accused were found at the scene. There can be no doubt on his way back to his lodgings, Mr. Natsume walked down Briar Road. Ugh. Crushed in a single sentence. And old man. Cold man, you can talk? You say that at around 5 o'clock on the day in question, you slipped and fell on Calabash Road. Pray, was there a suspicious-looking Nipponese behind you at the time? Oh, I can't say as I remember. You don't remember? How about a wager, my learned friend? You said it was this old man? Is that the accused saw? But I would lay 1,000 to 1 against you being able to prove it. Arg.
Order, Lord Van Zeeks, explain yourself.
My lord?
If you had such a trenchant argument up your sleeve, why in the world did you not proffer during the summation examination?
I had to, pad out the game, my lord. We need more dialogue. I wanted to give this young foreign student the sightseeing experience he no doubt came for. I wanted to see him. I wanted him to see for himself how the opinion of the jury is so readily swayed. Ugh. But my hospitality has its limits, and they have been reached, I feel. So, my learned friend, today's sightseeing tour of London is now over. What are you talking about? It'd be great if, like, the cape is, like, draped over Rinosuke right now. Like... My lord. The prosecution requests permission to call its next witnesses to the stand.
Granted. Bailiff, bring forth the witnesses.
It's next witnesses.
Mr. Naruhodo, do you not remember?
How a fucking trial works?
We've been told on several occasions that there were eyewitnesses to the incident.
Yes, I remember. One of them being a Scotland Yard policeman, no less.
I'm afraid that's likely to be the prosecution's next witness.
Alright, no matter who Van Zeeks brings to the stand as the witnesses, and no matter what they say, I believe in Soseki-san. I know he's innocent. And I'll keep believing to the very end, until this battle is over. Or who do you think it's... So, if it's a policeman, it'll be someone that we haven't seen yet. Unless it's the fake... Okay, this is not... Alright, never mind. This is not what I was expecting at all. I was expecting one of them to be the actor guy that we saw on Wednesday.
Yeah.
Witnesses, please state your names and occupations for the court. Okay, so which one do you want to be, John?
I'll be the guy.
Okay.
Constable beat here, sir. Nothing to report on the street, sir.
Oh my god, he's gonna fall asleep every other line. And I'm Miss Beat. Patricia's my name. I'm proud to say I'm this young town hero's wife. What's the story here? Well, in truth, we've not been married long. In fact, we celebrated our first anniversary only the other day. I don't know, it was your husband I was asking about. He seems tired. Hardly surprising.
All that late night newlywed sex.
Whilst being an honorable occupation, patrolling the beat is the most demanding work in the world. Oh, really? I'm sure I've heard that before, actually.
Indeed, apart from rare days off, our gallant officers trudge some 20 miles a day. They patrol boarding houses and pubs, collect taxes, survey the streets, check the meters are reading true.
These guys do literally every job. In
Yeah,
the
see,
city.
this doesn't seem right.
They even do the utility meters. Like, what the fuck?
And they're responsible for keeping the streets
And
clean
they clean
lighting and extinguishing our street lights.
Yeah, Andrew, this is a socialist government. This is what you'll get.
There's one government job. There's one
Yes.
one department, and they do everything.
It's literally do everything.
There are a number of items on that list that don't sound much like policing duties at all.
I wouldn't just be falling asleep at my feet. I'd have collapsed a long time ago. But it goes without saying that a policeman's primary duty is the apprehension of criminals. Even when he's off duty, a constable is expected to investigate and resolve any crimes on his beat. For the London Bobby is a man of honor. And a man of slumber. On the day in question, this man and his wife were walking down Briar Road in the opposite direction, as they witnessed the incident as it occurred. Is that not correct, Mr. and Mrs. Beat? That's right, sir. Isn't it really?
Constable Royley Beat, sir. Nothing to report on the streets, sir.
What a great witness he's going to be.
Very good. I'd like to hear your formal testimonies now, please. You tell the court exactly what you saw on the afternoon of the incident.
Yes, sir.
Oh my god. What the witnesses saw. It was our wedding anniversary, and Rolly was taking me out for a meal. There was no time to change after work. Anyway, two silhouettes appeared out of the fog on a pavement in front of us. All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor, and the other scattered something before running off. We ran straight over a corpse, and then we went for help at a nearby police box. It was definitely that Japanese man in the dock. Rolly and I both saw him clear as day. Okay, good. He didn't say anything this time. We don't have to deal with him falling asleep over the box.
Well, this is extremely compelling testimony, I must say.
No, man, I'm burping.
Oh dear, this policeman and his wife are claiming to have positively identified Mr. Natsume at the scene. If their testimony is true, the alternative course of events that you established in the summation examination will be quashed.
It's death knell, in fact. Because that alternative was never viable in the first place.
What an unfortunate be chancing. And on your wedding anniversary too.
Oh, I know. But I still managed to go out for the evening with my man. I thank the Lord for that.
Gosh, the life of a London bobby sounds very hard indeed.
Indeed. However, this cross-examination will be over in minutes. You may well have time to rest this afternoon. What do you mean by that? My learned friend, the witnesses saw the face of the man fleeing the scene. They are testifying under oath that it was without doubt the accused, Mr. Soseki Natsume. Bling, bling, bling. And one of the witnesses is a policeman, no less. So you appreciate the gravity of the situation, I'm sure. Bling, bling, bling. Except that the man's so tired, his wife has to do all the talking.
Preamble, counsel for the defense. Commence the cross-examination, please.
Yes, my lord. What the witnesses saw. So I guess we'll just press. I don't see anything standing out. Other than the fact that she said that they saw him clear as day, but it was really foggy.
Yeah.
No time to change after work, you say? Are you also a member of the police, Mrs. Beat? Oh no, sadly not. It's a job for strapping young men only. Women, children, and the elderly can't even apply. Well, I think you can probably see why children and the elderly can't do the job, can't you? I think Rolly looks ever so handsome in his uniform. It suits you down the ground. What does that mean? It suits you down the ground, doesn't it, darling?
Just finished my beat. Pat and I were heading back to the station. I was actually planning on getting changed there.
Is he talking in his sleep? This is creepy. Oh no, Rolly. I much prefer you in uniform. Sometimes I don't recognize you when I see you in plain clothes.
Oh god, what if they're siblings? They kind of look alike.
What the fuck?
Oh
no.
dear, that doesn't seem healthy.
Kindly adhere to the point. You were going for a meal after you had finished your beat for the day, correct?
That's right, sir. Although I was fit to drop, to be honest, I had to spend the whole day on my feet. Well, policing is my life, sir. As long as I'm the proud owner of this, I'll serve my city, my queen, to the end.
What's that now?
My award card, sir. Proof that I'm a London copper. It has the noble founding principles of the force written on it as a reminder to us all policemen. Sworn duty. To patrol the streets of London and town for the peace of the common man. Sir, and for such a noble cause, I cover 20 miles every single day without fail, without a grab one. Because I know, with the plodding of my boots is all London has near to here, it's safe in my new empire.
So, fighting crime doesn't appear to come into it then.
But sir, just on that particular day, I was looking forward to celebrating my wedding. His beats puts up with a not being married to a bobby like me. I wanted to show my dear wife how much I can. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rowley.
Oh, what a charming couple. Their young love is such a joy to behold.
It's a little over the top, perhaps?
And then,
kindly describe what happened next?
Anyway, two silhouettes. Oh, we've seen this. Okay, so we'll
Hold it!
press. Two silhouettes. That's right, they were coming toward us, walking up Briar Road in the opposite direction. There was a rather plump figure, followed by a scrawny, thin-looking man.
Victim is pictured in this print, and like Mr. Natsume.
Yes, unfortunately it does. And you're certain that, at that time, there was nobody else nearby? Oh yes, quite certain. It was dark, but there are streetlights on Briar Road, you see. There was nobody else around at all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Who? Oh, yes, that's right. Of course, there was a light fog on the ground. But Briar Road is dead straight, and you could see a very long way down the place. And then there's the street lighting as well. I didn't see any other visitors.
Before sleep takes a firm hold, your answer, please, Mr. Beat. Are you quite sure of what you've just said?
Yes, sir. As a copper who spends nearly all day every day keeping watch on the streets, I'd swear to it. I was sure, as my love for Patricia is true. Oh, Pat.
Oh, Rowley! They're still maintaining there was no one else around other than the victim and the attacker. Starting to seem like that must be how it really happened.
It's beginning to seem like there's nowhere to run.
Well, that didn't stop Mr. Natsume, did it? He fled the scene all too convincingly.
Thank you. I believe we have a reasonably clear idea of the situation just before the incident now. What happened in the crucial moments that followed?
All of a sudden, one of them just collapsed on the floor. Then the other scattered something before running off. Oh, fuck, that was a... Damn it.
Yeah.
Hold it!
Damn it. Scattered something? What do you mean by that? Oh, well, I couldn't quite make out what it was at the time. But then we got closer, we realized that it was... Didn't we, darling? Realize what it was, I mean?
Oh, yes, that's right. Here were some old books. I see, old books. Yes, sir. And the corporate had dropped a number of them all around with the picture made on the paper. Indeed, as clearly pictured in this photographic print.
That rotten Japanese man did that when he did the deed.
Hold it!
Let's not forget that it remains to be established that the defendant was indeed the attacker.
What was odd? It was the man on the dock, without question, sir. The mustache, the hunched back, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the sun knows everything.
What, are they just describing
Yeah.
a pig?
Any more insults you want to throw in? That's right, he looked down at that poor defenseless woman with those terrifying, intense eyes. Then suddenly threw his books onto the pavement and ran away. I see. This is tough. It seems as though they're telling the truth here. May I remind the court that this unambiguous testimony comes from a policeman and his wife.
Yes. Let us not
Yeah.
question authority.
Now please, continue.
Yes, sir.
Yes?
Now, I don't know if
Sorry.
there's been evidence for this, but what if she was stabbed and walked there?
And then it collapsed
Like,
later.
stabbed somewhere else and just have to collapse right in front of him,
Yeah,
startling him, causing
yeah.
him to drop his books.
That's possible too. Was it your husband who went to fetch help? No, I went. I may not be a police officer myself, but I am the proud wife of one after all. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, that's right. I asked Mrs. Beat to go. I was off duty by that point. But I've always never truly off duty, of course, so I felt obliged to stay and guard the scene. Very laudable, Mr. Beat. Preserving the scene of a crime is a task considerable importance. That's why I sent Patricia, you see. I told her where to find the right police box.
Forgive my ignorance, but what do you mean exactly by the right police box?
The one that doesn't travel through space and time.
Yeah.
It depends on a crime's location as to who deals with it. While the woman was stabbed, I was actually on my beat. So I told Patricia the way to the police box for the beat the incident fell under so she could go and report.
I ran there as quickly as I could and asked for help from the Bobby on duty. There's nothing more potent than a young couple in love working together, you know. And thanks to your swift response, the case was quickly resolved. The actions of two model citizens. Oh, please, you're making us blush, isn't he, darling?
Yes, but Patricia said so.
Let's move on, shall we?
Are they not going to bring up the fact that, like, he was probably unconscious?
Yeah.
Hold it!
But surely you wouldn't have been able to see his face by the light of the gas street lamps, would you? We absolutely could! Us Londoners have exceptional eyesight, I'll have you know. It's all that mercury in our diet.
Oh, God.
Right. The light from the street lamps was more than enough. And my husband already told you that the fog was only light, didn't he? Yes, and what of the fog?
Famous for it across the globe, I believe. But it's an absolute menace to those of us who have to live with it, of course.
Oh, it is. When it's thick, you can't even see the hand at the end of your own arm. Someone else already used that exact sentence. Yes, alright, I take your point. Now, could you stop checking your husband about? The constant fog makes our eyes very sharp, you see. That's how eyes work. That's why we can tell you for sure and certain that it was that little Japanese man we saw. Can't we, darling?
Yes. It was the accused. No mistake. The mustache, the hunchback, the cat-like eyes, the taut mouth, the snub nose. Unmistakable, sir.
As far as this couple's testimony is concerned, there can't be any question. It was Soseki-san they saw running away from the scene of the crime. So that's it.
Unless it was the cat in people clothes.
There you go. That's their entire testimony?
What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo?
Well, I hate to admit it, but on hearing the testimony, it really does seem as though Mr. and Mrs. Beats saw what they say they saw. Mr. Natsume running away from the scene on Briar Road that day.
Yes, I feel the same.
So if that's true, where does it leave us?
Posed. The members of the jury are sure to call for a guilty verdict after this testimony.
No. Then what do we do?
If Kazuma-sama were here,
He'd kill them all with his katana. What are you trying to say?
murder! I think he would try to find a contradiction somewhere else within their testimony.
Wow, we've never heard this idea before. What do you mean somewhere else? Come on.
The statement about seeing Mr. Natsume is unequivocal. Calling that into question won't help. But if you could identify some other part of their testimony which appears to contradict the facts, you might be able to discredit them to make the jury doubt if the pair's memory of the day is accurate.
Oh, right.
Put simply, We must focus on finding a discrepancy in these statements somewhere for the 15th time.
I know.
If we don't, I'm afraid the trial may reach an early and unfavorable conclusion.
Ugh, why do I always seem to be so up against it? Mr. Lawyer, sir, can I ask you something? Yes, of course. Well, what is it? Well, you keep asking us all these questions about everything we've told you, so... It seems like you don't believe our testimony. Is that right? Is it? Well, out with it. What? No, it's really not that at all. My husband's a policeman, remember? And I know what I saw. I remember every last detail, everything. Like... Oh, I know. What about the books the man dropped? This is gonna be it. So, like, we pressed everything, so now this will happen, and they'll give us some clue that we can deal with. I could tell you the names of every single one I could. Every single one. And you dare to question how reliable my testimony is?
That will do, Miss Beans.
No, it won't do it all, you musty old bitch. That Japanese lawyer has no idea what I'm capable of.
I killed her! I killed them all! The men, the women, the children too!
Well, I slaughtered them like animals! Even if I decide to forgive him for insulting us, don't think for a minute that Rolly will. I really don't mean to cause offense. Please put your husband's fist down.
Perhaps you would like the opportunities to supplement your testimony, Miss Bede? Might that appease you?
Oh, thank you, my lord. That will settle things nicely. Wouldn't it, darling? I can even tell you the names of the 4 books he dropped at the scene, and I'm gonna make you press it to get them. Oh, hold on, 4 books. So first of all...
Only 3.
So, like, do I present the fact that there's only 3 books in this picture? Or do I press and see what the names of the books are, and then press, and then do this?
I would press first.
Yeah.
Hold it!
Yes, we know that there were books dropped at the scene of the crime, as you say. This was purchased by the accused at the nearby second-hand bookshop on the day in question. After I'd been to the police box for help, I decided to have a good look over the area for good measure. I'm a proud policeman's wife, after all. I did it for Rolly. And what was your husband doing at the time? Oh, he was lying face down in the snow. Getting some well-deserved rest.
Oh my god.
He works ever so hard, you know. Ever so hard. Don't you, my darling? Interesting way of guarding the scene of a crime.
Well, Miss Bede, seen as you're regaled the court with tales of your powers of recollection, would you be so kind as to recount the titles of the books you observed at the scene?
I'd be happy to. Now, are you all listening? There was The Picture of Monstrous Somebody or Other, and What's It, Yearnings? I think these are the right books. Vaguely, yeah. Then there was A Meal for Someone, and the last one was definitely The Thing It Means Something. Okay, so the one that's missing is A Thing It Means Something. Which probably means that, like, she took the book, or, like, the real criminal took the book, or something. A Thing It Means Something. You see? Yes, I see there are 1 or 2 holes in your memory. Oh, well, they were along those lines, I'm quite sure. Is that what indeed books found as is seen with titles along those lines? As you put it. Well, what did I tell you? So I think it's very mean the way you've been implying that my testimony can't be trusted. Don't you agree, darling? Oh my god!
Upsets my Patricia will have me to answer to.
Holy shit. I just love like how goofy and cartoony they look, and then how just like real the gun looks. Like, it's not some goofy cartoon gun, it's like much more realistic than them. Terrifying. Yeah, she really is. So we're going to go through this whole, like, blah blah blah. And then we'll go back to the last thing on there. Her new line.
If Kazuma-sama were here...
Oh, I unleveled my mic. That's why I stopped.
Oh.
My bad. Okay, now we can finally get to this.
Objection.
So you're saying that there were 4 books? That's right. I remember all of them, vaguely. The picture of monster somebody. What's it, yearnings? A meal for someone. Whoa, excuse me. A meal for someone and the thingamy something. I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But there's a fundamental flaw in that statement of yours. Oh no, what? What flaw? Simply that, at the scene of the crime, there were only 3 books, not 4.
You killed her!
Yeah. What? Have a good look at this photographic print at the scene of the crime. As you can clearly see, there are only 3 books. But, no, that can't be! I saw them! Oh, I know what it is! Yes, you can't fool me! Sorry? It's a big old lump of a dead body! The lady's so large her corpse is blocking the view of the 4th book. That's all. Oh, she's not dead, for one thing, but... At least try to remember that the poor woman isn't dead, even if we're insulting her size. No, I'm sorry, Mrs. Beat. But Mr. Natsume could not possibly have dropped the 4 books that you describe. Why not? Fascinating. And from your assured tone, something you can readily substantiate with evidence, I presume. Ah, evidence, right. I can just make shit up.
Counsel, you will present evidence to substantiate your claim or withdraw it. What proof do you have the accused did not drop 4 books?
What's the police report say?
It doesn't mention the number of books.
Okay, I think it would be the receipt.
Yeah, maybe it was like she had a book. Yeah, the receipt's the only thing I can see that relates to books. Unless it was like, you can hold 3 books and a knife, but it's not possible to hold 4 books and a knife. The evidence is right here, in the form of this bookshop receipt. I mean, this is pretty weak. Like, the lawyer could just say that he already had 1 book and he bought 3 more, right? Like,
Yeah.
From your books?
yes, this receipt details Mr. Natsume's purchases that day. But as you can see, only 3 books are listed. No! That's not true, that's impossible! Therefore, Mr. Natsume would have only dropped 3 books at the scene of the crime.
Search your feelings. Know
Yes.
it to be true.
Which means that your powers of observation, madam, cannot be relied upon. So it cannot be denied that though you say it was the defendant you saw, you could very well be mistaken. I think so, John. You said that you had to go shortly after we would end normally, so we could save right here. We could wait to see where this goes. I feel like this is a good place to save.
I mean, I am curious to see where this goes.
Okay.
So I could go on probably till about 8:15 my time.
Okay, sure. Or like, till we get to the next like testimony or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's plainly evident that it is your powers of deduction that cannot be relied upon, my learned Nipponese friend. What? What cannot be denied is that these 2 witnesses saw the accused running from from the scene. A fact that you know very well you have no hope of disproving. Ah. So you're striven to avert attention from that by dint of some inconsequential discrepancies. Would that be fair? He sees right through me. But your plan has somewhat recoiled against you. What are you talking about? It's quite simple. Let me explain with a toast. To the policeman's wife and her entirely accurate on testimony in every respect. So it can be that they found the fourth book, they just never told me.
Yeah.
Oh. You see, the matter is not up for debate. As is seen on Briar Road, a total of 4 books were most definitely found. There are 4 books! But what about the photographic print? It only shows 3 books. Quite right. Only 3 can be seen in that print. That print? You mean to say?
Ah, good. The prosecution is withholding evidence.
Yeah. Allow me to present another one that shows the victim's hand. The Lion's Pride. That was the... Oh, that's the book that's missing from the...
from Garadeb.
Yeah. I don't believe it. It's the 4th book. As you will observe. The 4th book was hidden from view in the original print by the victim's torso. No. No!
I found her. She was alive. Order.
There, you see? Look at that! Look! Yes. It's just like I said, isn't it, my darling?
Yes, sir. Patricia's always right, sir.
Let us study the receipt for the books purchased by the accused on the day in question. Mrs. B, the titles once again, if you please. Oh, yes, of course. The picture of Monsieur somebody or other. The picture of Monsieur Lecoq. That can't be the road to say that. What's it, yearnings? Canterbury yearnings. A meal for someone. A meal for Gaboriau, in fact. As the court has just heard, as the witness remembers the book titles flawlessly, save for a few minor details. Mrs. Bede's powers of recollection can only be described as exceptional. Do you hear that, Rolly? The gentleman paid me a compliment.
Yes, Florida's Patricia's fault.
But there are only 3 books on the receipt, and Mrs. Beat mentioned 4. There's nothing surprising about that. Clearly, the 4th book is that which is shown in its photographic print.
I'm sorry, Counsel, but does that not seem odd? Why would the 4th book be omitted from the receipt?
It's not at all, my lord. As the photograph clearly shows, the 4th book was found in the victim's clutches. In other words, it belongs to the victim. The victim was holding her own book. Women can read.
What? What became of that 4th book?
Obviously, it was not overlooked by the investigating officers at Scotland Yard. I have it here as evidence.
You submit that and the aforementioned photograph print to the court, please, Counsel.
My pleasure, my lord. The 2nd crime scene photograph has been entered into the court record. The 4th book has been entered into the court record. The prosecution rests. I have nothing further to add. So let's check out these. Okay, it's the Lion's Pride. It's got like a chunk taken out of it, or like it's like clipping into the floor. It's burnt, yeah. Which means that she was there like that day.
Yeah.
Because that's when the fire was.
Yeah, you can select Lion's Pride on the front cover.
Let me see. It's a book entitled The Lion's Pride.
For I don't know any English literature at all. So it wouldn't be something I've heard. Wait a minute. The Lion's Pride? That's strange. I think I have heard of a book by that name before. Very recently, too. Definitely in that apartment.
It's a title I recognize too, Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, this. The book has been badly burnt.
You're right, you'd never be able to read it in this state, especially not on latter pages.
What a terrible waste. Judging from the scorched edges of the paper, I think the damage must have occurred very recently.
A book, recently damaged by fire. What does this mean to raise a red flag with me? Can't, like, open the book and see, like, oh, it's property of whoever. Okay.
Yeah.
What? You seem surprised, my learned friend. But your resistance until now has been in vain. Entertaining, yes, but futile. Suspicious
What?
longer route to the accused lodgings that you tried to establish in your summation examination. What's up?
What if the guy that stabbed her is the old man
Oh my
that lives on the second floor?
Wait, the landlord or the
Yeah,
actor?
the landlord.
Yeah, they're definitely involved.
Because maybe it's that she somehow stole his book.
Yeah. And the attempted discrediting of the witness powers of recollection in your cross-examination. Futile? I walked right into this, didn't I? You see, everything we said is true. Isn't that right, my darling?
Yes, very Pat.
So, perhaps the ladies and gentlemen of the jury would like to reconsider their positions? Should the court waste any more time on this Nipponese travesty? Or is the decision you have to make all too apparent already? Okay, I think this is going to keep going deeper and deeper. So
Yeah.
let's just save here.
Cool beans.
You good for Wednesday?
Yeah.
Okay, then we'll be back next Wednesday.
Cool beans.
All right. Goodbye.
Bye.